Welcome back to Cigar Talk. I'm your host, Rob Jones. We have a special co-host. Bryant was out this week, and he spent some time with his wife. So we've got Jay Patterson, the owner, tobacconist at The Leaf. How you doing, Brian? I said Bryant.
You did.
How you doing, Jay?
Doing good. Doing good.
Nice. Well, we want to say thank you for coming and hang out with us and filling in for Big Boy. That's some big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
It
really is.
Yeah. So we know you're going to do good though, because the last time you were here,
That was terrible.
We had a great time. We had a great time.
Okay.
So anyway, let's jump right in and talk about what we're smoking. What am I smoking? I was smoking I'm smoking the Macaulay Nicaragua.
Yes.
Good smoke, man.
Yeah.
That wrapper is impressive. It's thick, oily. I dig it.
It's a good smoke, and it burns really well, too.
Yeah, I've had no issues with this cigar at all.
Yeah.
So tell us what you're smoking.
I'm smoking a Padron Panatella Natural.
How you like that?
It's good. As you can see, I've been smoking it for a while.
Yeah, same here. Same here. We did the pre-show with Paul because Bryant was out, so that'll be interesting for the Light 'em Up crew. But anyway, tell us what you're drinking over there.
I am drinking Eagle Rare, care of Rob Jones.
And I'm drinking the Maker's Mark that Paul brought, and this is a special edition. Let's see what this is. This is the 2021 limited release. And the cool thing about it is, one, it's 110.6 proof. I'm not usually a big Maker's Mark guy, but this is really nice. And the notes, it says fruit forward expressions with notes of tobacco and wood.
Tobacco.
And so, I mean, that's cool because it naturally pairs with cigars.
Can you taste it in there?
I really can.
Yeah?
When you get to this, you're going to really like it. And the cool thing is, being 110 proof, the first thing I asked Paul was, how hot is it?
Yeah.
And it's not.
It's not.
I take that back. You take your drink, and it finishes hot, but not over the top.
Oh, good.
You know what I mean?
Usually, if you get
like
over
if you
100.
had the Bookers,
Yeah.
that is over the top for me.
You might as well just drink hot water.
You've had the Bookers, right?
I've had the Bookers.
Yeah, it's pretty hot.
Yeah.
And so it's out of the price range that I normally shop for bourbon. I'm usually that 30 to 50 guy, and the Bookers is I think 87, and I was like, I would never spend that much money on Bookers again because that was just too hot. I didn't enjoy it.
And you know what? I feel the same way about Scotch. Now, granted, Scotch prices has gone up.
Right.
But everything points to Scotch prices should go back down. But as a businessman, I understand that if people are going to buy it at $95 a bottle, then
at a 20 to 25% increase,
right? And
why would I lower the price?
Right. And so if
we just found out what our true value is,
yeah,
that's what they're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's true, because if people bought it when it was up 25%, then it was still valuable at that price point. People wouldn't have bought it.
Exactly.
So, I mean, if you weren't comfortable buying it for that 25% increase, then you shouldn't have bought it.
Yeah. We bought some Aberfeldy 21 year.
How was that?
It's good. It's smooth. Very smooth. Too expensive, but smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, the only Scotch that I really like, and I have not had a lot of Scotches. I thought the Monkey Shoulder was fine. Nothing to write home about, but, you know, for $35, that's a great value. But the Springbank.
Oh, Springbank. Yes. Now, that's the one that's still made traditionally.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's every time I mentioned it to Springbank to someone, I'm like, it's the only one that still does it the old school way.
Yeah.
No computers, no heaters. They still make their own fire, everything. Yeah. So that's impressive. And it's not that expensive. It's like $65 for the 10-year.
You know, I had Ed bring me a bottle of Springbank, and he charged me $90.
Now, which one was it, though? Was
I
it
don't
the
know.
10, 12, or 15?
Honestly, I honestly can't remember if that was really true.
Oh.
I don't know how much he asked for.
I was going to say, because Ed doesn't usually charge a surcharge.
He really doesn't.
No.
He sometimes forgets to bring money,
Yes.
and he sometimes forgets to ask for money. So
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's a.
Must be
He
nice.
was supposed to be here, actually. I invited him over
Yeah.
yesterday, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll be over there," and then he didn't show up.
Well, I seen him earlier today, and
His
It
wife
is
was
his-
telling him what to do.
well, for good reason. It is, I believe, their 40th anniversary.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that. I need to go back up to the shop and buy Ed a special cigar.
Get him a Tatiana or something. Something,
I usually always get him a 26.
That's good.
He loves the 26. And, that's what Dr. Bill smoked.
He did.
And
yeah.
Ed and him hung out a lot, so
lot.
they always smoked 26s. We want to give just a word of Dr. Bill. He passed recently. He's one of our home shop guys. Everybody raises their glass. And couldn't find a better guy.
Yeah.
I mean,
Top notch.
he's the guy who actually brightens your day when you ran into him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know what? It's like I miss the guy, and it's sad news. But when you look at the totality of his life, man, what a great life!
What a great life.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He did so much and enjoyed life.
he did. All the finest things in life. He worked hard for it, and he lived it out strong.
Oh, absolutely. I always tell this story about Bill. When I thought I knew cigars, I'm talking to Bill and I'm like, Bill, let me show you a cigar that you are going to fall in love with. And when you smoke this cigar, you won't even smoke the 26s anymore. And he was like, really? So he bought 3 LFD cabinet 6s. And the next time I saw him, I was like, Bill, what'd you think? And he was like, I didn't like those at all. And I was like, oh, okay. So that kind of made me go, you know what? You can't tell someone else what they're going to like.
Right. After years of smoking, the palate develops a certain way, and you like what you like.
Right.
And so that's why we have such a vast selection at the Leaf. I don't smoke them all, but people like what they like. And
Right. I mean, you can't just buy what you like.
right. And that was one of the big things that Corey and I talked about before we bought the shop, or while we were in the process, was, we really need to start thinking about and listening to, what people are talking about at the shop. What people want to bring in. What do they like to smoke? What shops are they visiting what do those shops carry that's bringing those people in? And let's, it doesn't take much to change the humidor. It takes time, but for the most part, it's an ever-evolving thing. You get these stapled areas.
Right.
You got to carry certain products because everybody's looking for them. But I think the humidor now is... If the humidor from even the previous location were to look at the humidor now, it'd be unrecognizable.
Right.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even know they're related.
Yeah.
And the two, since I have you here, I'm going to go ahead and pitch them.
Okay.
The 2 brands I would really like to see you bring in, Robert Caldwell
Uh-huh.
and Steve Saka.
Right.
Those are the 2 that I think that I would just probably rub one out. And I mean that in a positive way.
I believe it. Now, would it surprise you to know that we did at one point have both of those in the humidor at the same time?
I do remember that. And you know what? Like right up until the end of that, I just learned it like 2 or 3 weeks before that was the end of the
Yeah.
carrying of those brands. And so when I found them, I was just like, holy crap, I didn't even know these were in here. And I think Scott's the one who told me. I was like, man, we should see about getting some sock in here. And he's like, there's some in there. And I was like, where? Because, when you go into a humidor, you get in a routine.
You do.
You know where you're going to go. You know where you're going to look. And then a lot of areas just don't get looked over. Today, when I went in, I actually took time to walk the entire humidor. And that's a big humidor. So I was in there for a bit. But it was just a great experience because there was nobody else in there. So, I was taking my time looking through. I was not in a hurry. And I ended up going with the Buckeye and
Buckeye line.
the Yellow Rose.
Nice.
And then a couple of Project
exclusives.
40s. And then also whatever the hell this is.
Oh, okay.
That's a good smoke.
The St. Louis. Yeah.
Yeah, I like this box press. I'm not real big on a lot of box press, but this one I do like.
That's the Connecticut Broadleaf, St. Louis Ray by Altatis. It's been in there for a while as a line, but we expanded off of the St. Louis Ray Maduros that Teacher Gary used to buy all the time. So we always kept those in stock.
I'm going to interrupt you here.
Okay.
How long has it been since you've seen Gary?
3 weeks.
Really?
Yeah. His daughter brought him in 3 weeks ago.
How was he?
Fine. Yeah, he's got long hair now, like longer than before.
Because he already had a ponytail.
And he's still needing assistance with his walker. But yeah, he's doing well.
Good. I would have liked to have seen him. I don't think I've seen him in over a year.
Well, yeah. We thought we wouldn't see him until COVID was completely gone. But after he got his vaccine, I think he got vaccinated fully. And so now his daughter is sort of his full-time caretaker.
Okay.
And she'll bring him up once in a while.
Nice.
Yeah. She actually sat with him the last time. And it was neat to get to meet her. And
now, is that the one that was in the Navy, or is
Yeah.
that okay? Cool.
Yeah.
Is she living here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
she moved here to take care of her dad.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
Well, hey guys, we're going to talk about our sponsors here in a second, but I wanted to let you know we have a very special guest for our interview today. We have Peter Schmidt from Down Under.
Down Under.
The cigar smoking Australian, and I've been wanting to have him on for a long time. We finally got it worked out, so you're in for a treat. He's a very colorful fellow, to say the least. So anyway, let's talk about our sponsors right quick. We have Case Elegance. I've seen a lot of guys take pictures of their humidors and their man bags, or as Bryant likes to say, tote. And did I show you my new man bag in person yet?
You have not.
I got to show it to you, dude. It is freaking
Show
nice.
me your man sack.
I will. Dude, the leather quality on it is just off the chain. But anyway, Case Elegance makes beautiful quality humidors. You can buy a $50 humidor and you get a $50 humidor. Mm-hmm. And they have humidors that range, I think, from $79 to $200. And they are built with the most amount of Spanish cedar of all humidors. And they take the time to have an instruction guide that shows you step by step how to do the humidification. And it comes with all the humidification stuff you need.
Yeah, it comes with the kit.
Yeah. So you don't have to go on YouTube and try to figure it out on your own.
It's noob proof.
They've got it down to a science. So go by and check them out. And if you order anything from them, make sure you use the code Cigar Talk Coin, and they will send you an actual metal challenge coin that's got Cigar Talk on the front, and then it's got Case Elegance on the back.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's got the rope design all the way around.
Oh.
No, I'm not the rope, the star.
Yeah.
My bad. Anyway, guys, we also have, Viva La Vida.
Mm-hmm.
And if you guys don't have Viva La Vida at your home shop, make sure you ask for them to start carrying them. I guarantee you they're going to love them. And if you don't have a shop and you want to order them, then you can call somebody I'll tell you about in a minute. But anyway, check them out. Awesome cigars. And then we have Macaulay Cigars.
Yes.
Dude, they have done so much for the cigar industry
Yes.
that, I mean, I thought that other companies would start copying everything they did. And you know what I figured out? They can't. And you want to know why? Because they do so much so fast.
Tell the truth.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, it's like bam, bam, bam. I mean, you have the ambassador group. You have the ambassador Facebook group.
Yep.
You have the brick and mortar only. You have 17 facings. You have a budget from $450 to $42. They have a cigar for everyone.
Oh, absolutely. And not to mention, the higher ups, they will respond to you.
Oh, dude.
The communication is spot on.
I think they're the most transparent company that I know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just the communication part is unbelievable. Yeah. But if you haven't become a McAuliffe ambassador, make sure you look down the show notes, and there's a link to become a McAuliffe ambassador. You'll get your own coin, your own challenge coin with your own number. What's your number, by the way?
My number is 1064.
1064. Mine is
3 digits.
298.
298.
Yes.
Nice.
Bryant's is like 165, so he can suck a rope. Anyway, go by and check them out. And then our final sponsor of the night is The Leaf. We're very honored to have Jay here. Jay is a longtime friend, and he has become, I'll tell you this, you have become a great cigar shop owner.
Thank you.
You were always good right out of the gate, but there was a lot at the very first that you had to figure out.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I can't even imagine, because if you think taking over a business is easy, I mean, there's so much that you think you know, but, I mean, how big of a, like, holy crap.
Oh, yeah, there's a ton of things that I thought, well, no, I didn't even think. I just assumed that what I was doing and helping my predecessor with, I thought that was all that needed to be done. And as it turns out, that was just, tip of the iceberg stuff.
Right.
And
you even managed the shop.
I did, yeah.
So, I mean, even as the manager, you still don't know everything there is to know.
Yeah.
You don't know what you don't know.
That's right. And there's ancillary things that really should be predominant, like simple things like cash flow and managing inventory to where you can manipulate cash flow to bring in new things. And so it's this dynamic and this different mindset that I didn't go to college for. I didn't do this in my previous professional life that I had to learn on the fly. But it's fun because I get to hang out with it's somewhat pressurous or high pressure, but it's really not, because even though I'm not sitting around smoking cigars all day,
you're still part of the community.
I'm hanging out.
And you're there with the people.
Yes.
Right.
I can walk out of my office anytime. I just don't have time sometimes.
Right. Right. So then everybody crowds into your office.
Yes. And that's been nice. I don't remember ever the office previously being filled with people hanging out. But I like to feel that maybe I'm a little special. Maybe a little bit special in the head.
I think, well, we know that. But I think that seeing, well, and think about this, man. I mean, how many cigar shop owners bought a shop from someone else that was already established, had to learn the business, but then also had to immediately move to a new location? And the thing about it is, the way you've handled that, the way Corey's handled that has been amazing, because, I mean, the old shop was home.
Yeah.
But you made the home new and better. And that's a tough one. Because most people are going to be like, man, I miss the old place. you made it to where they can't wait to get into the new place.
And I'm glad you brought that up because we can't forget Corey. My business partner Corey, he lives in Indiana, and he does work for
The government.
The government, yes. But really, just we have a shared vision, and I can honestly tell you, he'd rather be here, or he'd like to be here more often.
Right.
Life isn't working out that way right now, but the encouragement and the trust that he bestows upon me and our staff lets us do what we do.
And let me tell you this. You two as a team reminds me of Andy and Barney Fife. So I'm here with Andy.
Yes.
So, no, and I love Corey. I am so happy that he is co-owner of the Leaf. You couldn't have found a better partner. I mean, you really couldn't.
I couldn't have.
I mean, he is the most easygoing guy. I haven't had to deal with him on a business level, but I can't see him in any other light as just being one of those guys that's just, you want to hang out with him. You know what I mean? He's one of those kind of guys.
He really is. And he's also one of those kinds of guys that you could just throw him into a random group of people, and he will find camaraderie.
Oh, absolutely.
And by the end of it, outside looking in, you'd think they were friends for years. But no, he just met these folks.
Yeah. I love hanging out with Corey when we get the opportunity.
Yeah.
So, if you need some cigars, and here's the thing. Jay carries both the McAuliffe line and the Viva La Vida line. How are you doing as far as the Club 500?
We have an abundance of Club 500.
Very nice.
But I won't disclose exactly how much.
Okay,
now,
fair.
You do know the history between from the Club 500 for listeners that don't realize. Initially, Billy and Gus developed a particular cigar. It's a box press 660 that they were going to make only for the first 500 accounts.
Right.
Right. And I don't know if you shared this before.
No, we haven't.
It took off so well that they said, all right, we're going to make this available on a limited edition basis. Now, once that tobacco's gone, it's done.
Right.
And so, Club 500, if you can find one,
don't get spoiled to it.
Don't get spoiled to it, because
and if you do want to be spoiled to it a little bit longer than everybody else, you better start stacking up now.
Yeah.
But anyway, call Jay at the Leaf. Don't call his personal phone. I accidentally gave his personal phone out to somebody, and I got a text like, Rob, what the fuck?
That's not true.
That's not true.
It was just a very difficult situation because the U.S. government restricts different states from receiving mail
cigars.
Order.
Right.
Yeah.
And I didn't. Someone asked me for the Leaf's phone number, and I just pulled up Jay's phone number and gave it out. So I apologize for that, Jay.
That's okay.
But no, if you guys look down the show notes, you'll see the name of the Leaf, and next to it, their phone number. Give them a call, and they will hook you up with the Viva La Vida or McAuliffe line. And they have a ton of other cigars that you might be interested in as well. So give him a call. He always gets the shipping right out. And there's always Boveda packs in the shipments.
I make sure to keep Boveda packs on hand predominantly for shipments.
Awesome.
Now, I was on the Distinguished Ruffians Zoom.
How was that? Because they just invited me to do that, and I told them I would do it.
It was awesome. I had a great time. Those guys are... It's like hanging out with buddies. The same way I talk about how Corey can go in and just cut it up with folks.
Right.
Same group. And you'll find that with cigar smokers. You can just jump right in.
Do you think that would be the appropriate platform for the old granddad's favorite game?
Yes.
Okay.
But with one caveat.
Okay, what?
You would probably need to wait till about halfway into the show.
Okay, fair enough. That's not one that you want to start
you don't want
with.
to you don't want to break the ice with that.
Right. Well, hey guys, we're going to go to Peter with his interview. When we come back, we're going to do our pick 6, my favorite 3 this week, and Jay's favorite 3. So we'll be right back after the break. Hey, so you guys, we have a longtime friend down under Australia, cigar smoker, just a genuine good dude, and I've been wanting to get him on the show for a long time, and I think he's a little shy, but we finally pried him out of that shell. He's on the show with us tonight with a brand new fresh beard. Welcome, Peter. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks so much for coming on and sharing what it's like to be a cigar smoker down in Australia.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not as fun as it is for you guys. I don't get to go to lounges. I don't get to pay $6 for a cigar, but it's not too bad.
So you guys don't have any like indoor smoking lounges, period?
We have no lounges. Our indoor smoking laws are pretty draconian. We're not allowed to smoke in any kind of commercial building, period.
What about publicly outside?
That's where it's a gray area. It's like we can, but not if we're within distance of somebody eating or within distance of like the open, like the doorway to a commercial building. So like if I was just walking down the street, walking my dog, yeah, I could have a cigar as long as there's no one sitting down.
As long as you're not offending anyone.
Basically.
So how does that work? I mean, like if you're out smoking in public, I mean, do people look at you or they look down on you for smoking? I mean, what's the society like over there?
Oh, look, no, not at all. Honestly, I don't really smoke in public too much. I like to sit out here in my backyard and have a cigar is usually my place of choice. But I would feel like I kind of get disgusted when I see cigarette smokers in places where they shouldn't be.
Right.
I'm like, it's just disgusting. The smell, even as someone who smokes as many cigars a week as I do, I see a cigarette smoker and I'm like, that is disgusting.
Right. We're so judgmental.
Right.
Now, have you ever smoked cigarettes?
No, never.
Okay.
No,
See,
never,
I smoked cigarettes for 24 years, starting from when I was 16 years old. And
Jesus.
so, and I tell you what, the difference between smoking cigarettes and cigars is night and day, because when I quit smoking cigarettes, I didn't smoke anything for 10 years. And then I started smoking cigars just on occasion, but now I've been smoking cigars for 10 years, and the difference in my health from when I smoked cigarettes for 24 years and now, it's like, dude, I still breathe fine. When I go to the doctor, he's like, oh, your lungs sound good. When I smoke cigarettes, that's not what he said.
Yeah. Now, my parents were pack-a-day smokers when I was a kid. Growing up, there were, a lot of cigarette smoking going on in the house, but I don't know. I've never been interested in it.
I got you. Yeah, my parents were both at least a pack a day, and I remember when I was a kid driving down the road, and I'm like, I don't want to smell that, and my dad was like, the window's cracked, and I mean, it was literally like that much.
Yeah, that's it.
So being in Australia and you don't have like smoke lounges, I mean, how did you start smoking cigars? How long have you been smoking cigars?
That's actually a really good question. I've only been smoking cigars for 4 years, but I have no idea what prompted me to do it in the first place. I was about to get married. Been married 4 years now, and it was about a month before my wedding. I said to my wife, I'm like, I want to have a cigar.
Nice.
And she's like, really? And I'm like, yeah. I'd never discussed it before. I said, I've never smoked a cigarette, never smoked a joint, nothing like that. So then when it came up to the topic of having a cigar, it threw us both out of left field. And I was like, yeah, okay. And I did a bit of research on what would be a good cigar for someone who's never smoked anything before. And I bought about a dozen Romeo and Julietta's number twos.
Oh, wow.
And I handed them out at my wedding to my friends and family. And it was actually just a beautiful moment.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. You probably started with doing your homework more than anyone I know. Everyone else I know was just like, I just thought I would try it, and I walked into a shop and bought one.
And the guy said, "Smoke this one," and I did. No, it was. I think I asked the question on Reddit. I think I joined a Facebook group, and I asked the Facebook guys, "Hey, what do you recommend?" And And yeah, the feedback I kept getting was like, for an Australian, because we have Cubans in pretty much every store. We could walk into a grocery store and buy Cubans here. And it was a case of, Cubans are great for starters, but if you really get into it, then you should try brands like Padron and Fuente, but don't start with them because you
don't appreciate
mess yourself up.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, yeah, I remember the first time I smoked a Padron 1926. I kind of felt like I had got ripped off. You know what I mean? I was like, $27 for that, and then
I felt that way with the Liga Privada number 9.
Right.
I smoked a number 9, and I was like, "This is horrible. I hate this." And it was about the third or fourth cigar I'd ever smoked. And here I am 4 years later, and I'm like, I love anything that you put in my hand that comes from the Drew Estate factory.
Right.
I'm like, I should probably try that number 9 again.
So you're a big Drew Estate fan.
I do enjoy my Drew Estates, the Room 101s, and obviously the Fuentes at the moment. The thing is, Rob, like with us, because our import tax is based on gram weight, whether I buy a $25 Fuente or I buy a 50-cent factory smoke, they get taxed at the exact same rate. So if I'm paying $400 for a box of cigars, either way, yeah. So if I pay $400 for a box of cigar in tax alone, regardless of what it is, why would I waste my money on some factory smokes,
right,
or some acid blondies when the Fuentes, the Padrones, the Patels, they're all getting taxed at the exact same rate. So we tend to smoke a lot of, I guess you could say, higher end stuff down here because we're getting taxed the same rate no matter what.
If you're going to get screwed, you might as well enjoy it. So
exactly,
you got to get the
exactly
good stuff. That makes sense. So what are you smoking tonight?
Well, tonight I've got the Fuente between tonight. What am I saying? It's 10 o'clock in the morning.
Well, yeah. It's dark here where I am, and it's still beautiful, sunny. Is it? Well, this is your winter time, right? Or coming into winter?
Yeah, we're in winter. But I live in Queensland, and our winters don't get that cold at all.
I was going to say, it doesn't look very wintry where you are. I mean, there's palm trees behind you. It's sunny. What's the temperature there? Well, don't tell me the temperature because I won't understand it.
No, that's all right. I installed a converter on my phone just for these conversations. They always come up when I talk to you guys. So it's 64 of your degrees, 18 of mine.
So see, that's perfect weather. That's not cold. That's perfect.
Oh, I'm loving it. I'm in love it. I'm in jeans and a t-shirt. It's brilliant out here.
Yeah, that's nice.
And
so are you guys big?
I'm smoking the Fuente between the lines because to me it's the best thing to go with a cup of coffee.
Oh, very nice. Well, I was going to say, do you ever get to enjoy bourbon? Do you guys have bourbon down there?
Of course we have bourbon, mate. We're not the fucking stick. Sorry, can I swear on this show?
Yes, you can. So, I mean, like you guys get the bourbon that we have, like, Kentucky bourbons.
Yeah, pretty much. My bourbon of choice is the Woodford Reserve.
Oh, good choice.
It's an excellent one. And the Maker's Mark is another good one to make into old fashions. We definitely get bourbons and the same stuff you do. It's not cheap. Again, the tax on it is ridiculous, but we get it.
Oh, really? So they tax that too?
Yeah.
They tax everything.
They tax everything. If you're going to enjoy it, you're getting taxed on it in this country. We get our universal health care.
Yeah, you can't beat that.
So free education. We get a lot of perks.
So your college is free?
It's free while you're doing it. And then the government will basically give you a loan. And then when you graduate and you start making over a certain threshold, then you start paying it back.
Okay. So if you never make over that threshold, you're good.
Exactly. That's why I still have like 30 grand of outstanding student debt because I've never gotten paid over that threshold because I never graduated.
So I was going to say, what did you go to school for?
Next question.
Okay. It's going to be
No, look, I went to school for education to study, to become a teacher. And then I realized I hate kids. So I stopped doing that after about a year and a half.
Yeah, because y'all don't have kids. Y'all have a dog.
Yeah, we've got a dog, a Springer Spaniel. Now, my wife and I decided about 10 years ago that we didn't want kids, and we've stuck to that.
Well, how long have you been married? You're a young man.
I've only been married 4 years, but my wife and I have been together since we were teenagers.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, so 15 years this October.
So you said earlier that you could buy Cubans there. So, I mean, do you still smoke Cubans from time to time?
Occasionally, very, very rarely. I just find them boring and quite bland. A couple of weeks ago, I smoked what was the Cohiba 2017 Talisman. And when I looked up the value of that cigar, it was gifted to me, very generously gifted to me by a very good friend of mine. But when I looked up the value of it, they're selling at the moment for 300 Australian dollars. And I was like, this is not a $300 cigar. Not at all. It was boring. It was plugged. It was just a horrible smoking experience. It was plugged, and that's how you know it's a genuine Cuban. Is if it draws like a like a dog's turd, you know it's going to be a genuine Cuban. It's when it draws well, and you're like, oh, this is actually a tasty Cuban. You start to get a little bit dubious about whether or not it's genuine.
Well, it has a good draw because it's not rolled very tight, and there's a bunch of garbage in there.
Exactly.
Yeah, so a friend of mine brought me some Cubans back from his cruise, and they were all, what was it, Cohibas with the glass top,
With the glass
Yeah,
lid.
and I was
Geez.
dude, I told you not to buy me any cigars.
If you want to buy me a cigar, buy me a voucher for my local store or something.
Well, and I told him, I said, I tell you what, before he left, I was like, don't buy me any cigars. You're going to end up buying fake Cohibas. And I said, Cohibas are fake because everybody that doesn't smoke cigars knows the name Cohiba.
Knows the brand.
So
Exactly.
that's why they do those. And I said, so stay away from there. If you want to, go in a cigar shop and just buy me one good cigar. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And
Ask
of course,
the guy behind the counter.
yeah. And instead, he buys a box of Cohibas on the street from some dude for $75.
Yeah. A friend of mine had a very similar situation. He's a back cracker dude.
Chiropractor.
Osteotherapist. No, the other one, the more fancy one. An osteotherapist.
Okay.
And he said he cracked some dude's back, and the guy was so grateful he bought him a box of cigars just to thank him. And it was a box of Cubans, a box of Cohibas, very, very obviously fake.
Right, because the quality is so bad.
You could just tell, like, just by looking at the box, it was like a cardboard box with newspaper lining or something. And he says to the guy, oh, thanks, I appreciate it, but it was just rubbish. But then he said he got home and he sliced one open and long filter. It was actually looked like a proper cigar. It wasn't floor sweepings. It didn't have pubic hair and dirt and gravel in it. It actually was a long fill tobacco. So it was like, okay, let's give it a try. He lit one up and he said it was actually a really good smoke. But it definitely wasn't what it said it was on the box.
Wow. Well, that impresses me because I always figure, and I'll tell you this, when I got the box of fake Cohibas, I didn't smoke one of them. I was just like, I don't know what's in that. I'm not smoking it. So,
especially not if you bought it on a boat in Mexico.
Right. I think he got them in Cancun. So, I mean, So, what's the process of you buying cigars in Australia? I mean, can you go down to your local shops and buy so you don't have to pay the taxes being shipped in, or they get taxed on their way in, so they just give you that same tax at the store?
Basically, like, we've got a couple of physical stores that we can walk into. In my local area, I've got to travel about an hour and a half to get to one. But they pay the import taxes themselves. So their rock bottom cost price is only about $1 or $2 per cigar, less than what we can import them in for ourselves. And then obviously they've got their merchant fees and their handling fees and everything else on top. So this cigar, when I buy it myself, probably cost me about $30 Australian, including tax shipped in. Whereas if I was to walk into a local store, he's selling it for about $70.
Wow.
So there is it's not a very economical way to walk in. And you want to support your brick and mortars. We all do. Like I can't stress enough that I want these stores to stay around. But when it's that kind of money,
when it's over two times the cost for you, it's hard. Well, I mean, and
it'll take me less than an hour to smoke this.
Right.
It's only a little one.
That's what she said.
$70 for an hour. Oh, shut up. And I'm paying $70 for an hour. It just seems like it's a bit of a rot.
Yeah, because then you think how many hours do you work to make $70? You know what I mean? That's what I always
Exactly.
and see. I don't smoke a lot of high end cigars. I smoke my price range is between $7 and $12 because there's
Yeah.
so many good cigars in that price range that I mean on occasion I get the 26 or the 64 or the Reserva or one of those cigars that I think is worth the amount of money, but I mean like you said, when you smoke as many cigars as we do, you can't be buying $50 cigars every time. You know what I mean? I'd go broke.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm broke
What are you
already.
smoking right now, Robert?
Right now I'm smoking the Nicaraguan from Macaulay, but I started
Oh, yeah.
smoking this about 30 minutes before we started, so I'm probably going to finish this up, and I've got a medallia right here waiting to be fired up next.
Yeah. That medallia that you sent me, it was only the little 4x42 or something, this tiny little thing. And
Yeah, the Corona.
um,
The
yeah,
petite
no,
Corona.
petite Corona. It was a baby of a thing. And I think I smoked it while I was mowing the lawn.
So how did you like the other Macaulay's that I sent you?
I've got to say, the Leander was probably one of the better cigars I've smoked all last year. That
Really?
Leander was brilliant. Yeah, absolutely.
Now,
The other ones I found were okay. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. I'll buy them again, but they didn't really wow me.
but the Leander knocked you good.
The Leander definitely did. And I think with that medallia, because it was so small, I just didn't really have enough time to sit down and enjoy it before it was finished. It was gone. I was like, oh, it's gone.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, for me, I feel the same way. If I'm going to smoke a petite Corona, it's not really for me to sit back and enjoy a cigar. It's almost like one of those things where it's like, if I got time to smoke a cigar in 20, 30 minutes, I'll smoke it, but I'm not sitting down to enjoy it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
exactly.
And I mean, I know some
Exactly.
guys do enjoy that size and profile, but for me, I need at least a 5-inch cigar to sit back and enjoy it. And 5 inches to 6 inches is where I really enjoy it. I don't really care for anything more than 6.5 most of the time, just because I find that, like, I always think of Lanceros. Do you like Lanceros?
I don't mind a Lancero, again, because for us, they're cheap on the import because they don't weigh a lot.
Right. Wow, I didn't think about that.
You get a box of 20 of them or something, and it costs you $200 on the import because they weigh nothing.
Wow. That's I didn't even think about that. Yeah. So you smoke a lot of Lanceros?
I won't say a lot. But I have smoked probably about. I bought this like sampler of Tatuaje.
I was just fixing to say, did you get the monsters?
I didn't get the skinny monsters, no, but he's got the whole range. I don't think anybody out there puts out as many Lanceros as Tatuaje do.
I don't think so either.
He's got the biggest range of Lanceros. And this one, yeah, it was about a box of, I think, 10 Lanceros. It cost me $200, and it was, they were all really good. I've still got 2 left, I think.
And how long have you had those?
I've had them over a year now.
Wow. So how
Yeah.
many, do you save cigars for a while like that? You let them rest that long?
Yes and no. Basically, I kind of, when I get new cigars, I put them to the back, and then like I slowly rotate through. So I'm smoking my oldest kind of cigars first, and they kind of make their way through.
But if you have cigars that are in your humidor that are over a year old, you're not rotating through the stock that fast.
No, I'm not.
You see what I'm saying here?
I don't. Yeah, I do.
So what's the climate like there as far as, the humidification needs for your humidor? I mean, is it dry or is it semi-humid?
It gets bloody humid here in the summer. So I've actually got a little wine fridge that I put my cigars in.
Okay.
That keeps them cold, keeps them at a regular temperature, because as you know, when the temperatures fluctuate, so does the humidity inside your humidor. So yeah, I've got them in that fridge, keeps them cold at 18 degrees, and then a couple of Bovetta packs that keep them at 69%. But if they weren't in that fridge, the temperature would fluctuate so much that
Gotcha.
yeah, it would ruin so many of the cigars. And because in Australia we do have such a large access, like we have great access to a lot of Cubans, there are a lot of guys I know that have a specific humidor just for aging Cubans.
Really?
So you want that to remain at a very constant temperature.
Are they very
And humidity.
finicky?
You don't want it to change.
Are Cubans more finicky?
They taste like shit when they're fresh. That's the problem.
Gotcha.
If anybody says, like, here's a box of Cubans, they're from 2020, they were just rolled, don't touch them for at least 5 years.
Wow. We got a guy down at the shop, and he says any cigar you buy, if you age it for 5 years, will become a great cigar. I don't know if that's true.
I don't know if that's true, but with Cubans, that is definitely true. And the way I see it, if I buy a box of cigars and I light one up the day it arrives and it smokes like shit, then that's not a good cigar. That hasn't been aged properly in the warehouse. It hasn't done its proper rounds at the factory before it's made its way to me.
Right.
I should be able to buy that cigar and smoke it immediately. If I have to age it, there's a problem.
If you have to age it, you should get a discount for doing the factory's job.
Exactly. They should know better.
You don't work for them.
Green cigars. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, speaking of green cigars, have you ever smoked Claros?
I have not smoked a green cigar, no.
I've smoked one. That should tell you all you need to know.
You smoked it on the show, didn't you?
Yeah, I smoked it on the show, and I was like, I toasted the foot, and I was like, this even smells funky. It just didn't seem like it should. And I know some people like Claros, and, everybody has their own palate, but for me, I was not a fan. I did smoke the Filthy Hooligan also, which is a barber pole with Candela, and I didn't care for that either.
I think I have also smoked a barber pole. No, I haven't. No, I went to. I think someone sent me a Swamp Thing.
Okay, from Romacraft.
And I was like, I don't like the look of this. So I think I gifted it on to somebody else.
Oh, typical cigar smoker. Gift away the ones that scare you.
Yeah.
So
I've received a lot of Gurkhas that way.
So is the Gurkha brand strong in Australia?
Oh, dear God, no.
Okay.
Again, because the thing is with us, with the market of cigar smokers, we tend to manipulate what comes in and out. Because if the cigar shop buys something and we don't buy it, then they won't buy it again.
Yeah, they're losing money just for the taxes.
Exactly, and just by sitting on them for that long. So more often than not, the cigar shops really they stick to their core principal brands, right? And they stick to their Padrones, their Fuentes, their Rockies. They stick to those core brands. And they don't like to get adventurous with trying boutiques and other brands. I think I asked a guy if he had some Illusions, and he was like, no. He doesn't have any Dunbartons. He doesn't have, he doesn't have a lot of the stuff that we as consumers are often looking for and buying for ourselves.
I get you.
So, that's with us buying them and importing them, the cigar shop will look at what's trending through their wholesalers and see, oh, okay, so these Dunbartons are trending, maybe I should get some of those in. So we tend to manipulate what comes in and out, but what they don't realize is we're not going to buy them from them because he doubles the price.
Right. Hey, so let me ask you this: what's the cigar community like down there? I mean, since you don't have a place to hang out and smoke in public places, do you guys get together and smoke cigars?
Well, we yes, when we can.
Where would y'all meet up to smoke? At someone's house?
At someone's house, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Generally. So, we've got because we've got our little Discord community of about 500 guys across Australia, and we get together every Saturday night here on Zoom for a cigar. And because the country is so widely populated, we don't really have guys that are more than about a dozen or so within driving distance of each other.
I got you.
So when we do get together, it's usually only a small gathering of about 10 guys or so. But that Discord group does help us to be able to share what we're smoking and be able to learn about different brands of cigars that we might not have heard of. So you can walk into a lounge and you can see a bloke sitting over there smoking something you've never seen before. And you can say, hey, what is that? And he'll say, oh, it's a Oscar Valladera Superfly. And you're like, oh, cool, I've not tried that. I might go try one too. It smells really good. And then you'll walk over to the counter and you'll buy it. You'll sit down and smoke it together. We don't have that luxury. So instead what we have is our Discord group where, old mate will put up his picture of his Oscar Valladera Superfly. and I'll say, hey, that looks really good. I'm going to go buy a box of those too. And, and we share them around that way, that experience. It's a lot more drawn out, obviously. We can't just walk straight up to a counter and buy that cigar that bloke smoking next to us, but we figure it out.
So when you order cigars from the States, well, I assume you order from the States. Is that where you primarily order from?
Yeah, places like Atlantic and Neptune and Cigars Daily, places like that.
Okay. So when you order those, what's the time frame that it takes for it to get to you?
Not long. Not as long as you would think.
Not as long as it took for my package to get there.
No, because you send USPS, it'll take about a month. But if you send it through UPS or DHL, it's usually about 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Week and a half, 2 weeks. It's not that bad at all.
Just so everyone knows, I sent Peter a package, and I want to say it was like 2.5 months.
It was a bloody long time. And I had to let them sit in my humidor for another month before I could smoke them because the fucking fluctuations in humidity had gone up and down.
Well, my daughter was in Australia for 18 months, and when I shipped her a laptop, it took almost 4 months to get there. I was thinking that it was just not going to ever get there, and finally it arrived. So let me ask you this, though, about your Discord group. So how long have you guys been doing that as far as hanging out and doing Zoom meetings? Was that a COVID thing, or was y'all doing that way before COVID?
The Discord group began in about September of 2018. So Facebook started really cracking down on tobacco communities around in 2018. And if you were seen to be promoting the use of tobacco, they would shut you down, right? And we had a lot of the groups that we were all members of on Facebook that were all being shut down left, right, and center. So we started this Discord community then in anticipation of them all being shut down on Facebook.
See, you should have. That's because your Facebook groups have the word cigar in them. If you would have been like,
exactly,
you should have named it "How to Be the Perfect Gentleman." See, that would have been fine.
It would have been fine, and a lot of them ended up just abbreviating their names instead.
Well, see, that was one of the things I didn't think about when I named the show Cigar Talk. I can't be advertising on Facebook, Instagram, Google, nobody, and I was actually doing a cryptocurrency mug thing, but I had it on Cigar Talk's website, and they would not even let me promote
I remember
it.
You saying that.
Just because Cigar Talk. And I was like, are you kidding? I'm not selling cigars.
Yeah. But it promotes tobacco use.
I don't promote it. I just condone it.
So when all that started happening, we migrated over to Discord, and we started organizing kind of regular get-together, like physical get-togethers, just in everybody's kind of local communities at a tavern, because some taverns have decent outdoor smoking areas that you can go and smoke in. But when COVID happened in the March, which was less than 6 months later, we couldn't do that anymore. So our Melbourne guys had the longest lockdown, I think, in the world. Like, out of every lockdown that every country's had, I think Melbourne has the longest one. It was like 178 days or something.
Wow.
Something ridiculous. It was mental. And so those guys started really kind of struggling mentally with the claustrophobia of being trapped in their houses. So we started doing on Skype, just, get together and have a cigar once or twice a week, just together. And then every single Saturday night since, it's just never stopped. So even though lockdowns were lifted and restrictions have been lifted quite a bit around here, we still get together every Saturday night because it's great for our mental health.
Yeah.
And even though we started as a cigar lounge and a group for men to share, well, not men, but people to share cigars and their love of cigars with each other, we really have kind of become a support group for a lot of guys to be able to talk about the shit they've had to go through during COVID.
Yeah.
Job loss and relationship issues and stuff like that. We really do look after each other.
Well, and that's kind of cool because the cigar community in America is that way. And so it shows you that there's something about the draw of a cigar and the people that smoke cigars that have that open relationship with people that, you know, it's just everyone's welcome. I mean, I assume that's how it is down there from what you've said.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We're very, very warm and welcoming to all kind of all walks of life with cigars. You know, I've smoked cigars with millionaires. I've smoked cigars with guys who are less off than me. You know, they're the great equalizer.
It really
is. A cigar
is.
is the great equalizer. You know, it said you're a gun-toting fucking redneck Texan. We have nothing in common except for our love of cigars.
I'm trying to think if we have anything else in common. Come on, man. We got something else in common. So anyway,
maybe.
Yeah. So I just think it's interesting that, you know, and I get emails from guys in Germany, from the UK. There's a guy, where's he at? Like coffee. Singapore.
We have coffee in common.
Yeah, we do have coffee, but mine's black.
Yeah. And mine's cold.
Yes. But, you know, I've talked to guys all over the world, and the emails that I've had with these guys show that it's the same camaraderie there that it is here when you have the cigar in common. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I've never been a part of a more generous community than the cigar smoking
absolutely.
Community.
And I mean, you've been on our Discord. I mean, our Zoom meetings or HERFs that we have. And I mean, you're from Australia, and we've got guys all over the United States. And I mean, they all welcome you just like if you were here. You know what I mean? And I don't see that in very many other communities. You know what I mean?
Except for when they ask me if I'm going to throw another shrimp on the barbie. I think I get that every single fucking time I get together with you blokes. Somebody asks me if I'm going to throw a shrimp on the barbie.
That's why he doesn't come around anymore.
No, I think I stopped coming around to your meetings when you stopped showing up. Honestly, I enjoyed talking to you, but Orlando... No, I'm kidding. He's a great bloke. He's not even here, and we're ripping on him. No, we love you, Ollie. Don't worry, mate.
So, you know, I originally was going to introduce you as Bobo the Clown and then let you roll into. So I want to explain that to some people. If you heard the episode of Bobo the Clown, that was actually a joke with one of our Patreon Light 'em Up crew members. And so he didn't know that he was being recorded as a clown. So a lot of guys, and we didn't tell anybody. We just put that show out there. So a lot of people were like, what the hell was that? So anyway, that's it was a joke. So
the thing is though, Robs, I haven't really listened to your show that much for the last couple of months. And that was the first episode I tuned in to listen to, and I'm like, what the hell is Rob doing? Is this how far off the rails this show has gone?
I can believe a lot of people were probably like, what the F is that? And so
you're reaching out to Carlos Fuente, and you're like, hey mate, come and have an interview on my show. And he's like, yeah, no worries, brother, I'll check it out. And he tunes into the Bobo the Clown episode. He's like, no bloody way am I meeting with this bloke.
Yeah, and the week before we did have Steve Saka, which that was an honor.
That was a fantastic interview. I highly rate that. Steve's a great bloke. How'd you get his email, by the way?
You know what? Oh, he actually sent it to me. Because I had messaged him on Instagram, and he answered me on Instagram like 6 months later and was like, hey, man, I'm sorry. I just now saw this. I don't hardly get on Instagram. And so he said, contact me on my email address. So he sent it to me. And I'll tell you what, man, he was a very interesting guy to talk to. You know what I mean? Not just all about cigars, but just the way he is in life. I respect that guy.
Absolutely. And you can cut this part out of the interview if you want, but I sent you his fucking email, mate.
Oh, well, hey, I don't think I never used it when you sent it to me. Because on Instagram, I'd send him a message and he answered like an hour later. And then I sent him another message, and he answered about an hour later. And then I sent him another message about being on the show, and he never answered me. And I was just like, I guess that was a no. You know what I mean?
Probably because you listened to your Bobo the Clown episode.
Oh, I thought it would be funny if I would have made his episode a Bobo the Clown episode.
We actually had an interview with Steve Sarko as well, like with our Zoom group, our Discord group. We got Pete Johnson on one week and we got Steve Sarko on another week. And they are some fantastic blokes to chat with. They really are top quality guys.
Yeah, and I'll tell you the other one that I really enjoyed was Robert Caldwell. I don't know if you listened to that episode, but that was a really good interview.
I am going to go back through your episodes, Rob. I listened to the first 100 episodes every week.
And then we quit doing interviews for a while, and he was like, I don't want to listen to these two old guys reminisce and get drunk.
Exactly. Fucking, you guys were talking about the Mike Tyson fight, right? Or some Mike Tyson fight. And I'm like, you're talking about a fight that happened before I was born. And I'm just...
Hey, well, that's one of the great things about our Patreon members is I have a meeting with the producer guys once a month. And I get feedback from them. And so we had a meeting, and I said, are you guys happy with the way the show's going? And somebody said, I'd really like to see you do some more interviews. And I was like, okay, cool. Yeah. And they were like, yeah, I mean, you don't have to do one every week, but now you're never doing one. And I was like, okay. Well, they told me that. So, like, the next 6 episodes, I think we had 5 interviews. So we do listen to what people say other than you. When you told me that, I was like, what do we care about some Australian guy?
Well, fucking Rob, okay, so when I jump onto the iTunes podcast store in Australia, the Australian podcast store, I am the only review for your show.
From Australia.
In the Australian version. From Australia. So
really?
I don't think there is a single other Australian who actually listens to your show.
Wow. Well, that cannot be true because there is 1% of our listenership is from Australia. Not one guy, 1%. So that would make like, 10, 12 guys.
But, unless it rounds up.
Yeah,
to the nearest percent.
But you're the only no, because some of the countries are less than 1%.
Oh, okay.
So we know there's at least 12 guys in Australia, but you're the only one that cared enough to leave a review.
It was like, I think it was like maybe a 10th or 11th episode. You said something about, hey, leave a review and all this. And I'm like, I really, really respected and appreciated what you were doing for the community. So I'm like, yeah, I'll help you as much as I can. And I jumped on there and left a review. And
well, the funny thing is, I can't see your review because I'm not on the Australian iTunes.
Well, it says, this guy's a dick. I hate him. 5 stars. Nah.
Oh, I've seen several of those. Did you leave it multiple times? with
under 25 different names.
With different names, yeah, right? So, the Cigar Talk has been an evolution. And you started way back early in the early days whenever the audio quality was really rough, but you stuck with us. But you saw the show evolve from the early days into what we consider to be good, and then we change things up to try to make it better. And sometimes when you make changes, they're not always for the better, so you got to go back and circle back to what was the good stuff. Oh, look at there.
There it is.
Very informative and
rating.
Entertaining. Wow.
And 2 years ago I left that. It's the only one on there. It says 1 rating, 5 stars. So according to Australia, you got 5 out of 5.
Wow. In the United States, I think we're 4.5 out of 5. So, can't make everybody happy.
It's probably Orlando.
Yeah, right.
1 star saying, this guy keeps shitting on me.
And Bobo the Clown.
Yeah, it's probably going to go down to about 3.5 after people listen to that Bobo the Clown episode.
Right. Yeah, we debated on whether or not we would release it, but it was too funny not to.
See, it was funny to you because you understood the joke. See, I'm listening to it. I get 10 seconds in and I hear this high-pitched voice and I'm like, fuck that. And I immediately
So I
turned
know,
it
but
off.
what went through your mind as far as did you think it was a real clown?
I did.
See,
I did.
that was the beauty of it, and I mean, yes, I was selfish
Because that
because
is
it was
your
funny
humor.
to me.
It's your humor. So I believed it was something that you would do. You would interview a clown because that's just you to a T. You know, I've heard your grandpa's favorite game joke. You know, so I
We've never
understand.
shared that on the show, by the way. We've never shared that on the show.
No, because you'd need to bump your rating up to bloody R18.
Well, I
Adult
actually
only.
changed it to explicit about 3 or 4 months ago because
Yeah.
I got tired of editing out stuff to make it PG-13 because the editing on the language was taking too long. So I was like, you know what, we'll just put explicit down, and that way you know before you listen.
Exactly, and you can guarantee 100% of your audience are over 18 or 21 or whatever the age is in your country.
24 to 55 is our 98%.
Exactly.
And out of that percent, I believe it's 97% men.
Okay, all right. So you've got about 2 or 3 dozen women that actually listen to the show.
Right. So, which is
There you go.
surprising.
Yeah. So in our Discord group of 500 people, we've got one woman.
Oh, wow. No kidding.
Yeah, one.
So is the cigar community as far as women growing, or is it just, it's not really a feminine thing to do in Australia?
That's a good question. I have smoked cigars with women on Zoom, but it's usually the wives of our members.
Okay. Does your wife
So
smoke
I
cigars?
No, my wife doesn't, but she tolerates me smoking them.
Have you offered to let her try one?
Oh, every time. Every time I light one up, I say, "Hey, you want a puff?" And she's like, "No, I'm good."
See, I've asked my
time.
wife if she wants to try one, and her response is, "Hell no, hell no! Don't even ask me." You know what? My wife, when I first started smoking cigars, my wife hated cigars. I mean, when I come in from being outside of smoking a cigar, my wife, it was not pretty, and we.
Well, see, Rob, have you seen the movie that Pete Johnson put out, the Hand Rolled?
No, I have not.
You should watch that, Rob. It's really good. It's an hour and a half long. It's on iTunes. I think it was like $10 or something. And it's basically just a whole documentary about the cigar smoking community, about the production of cigars, all this kind of stuff. They're actually working on a sequel to it at the moment.
Now,
I
is it a
watched that with
movie
my
or a
wife.
documentary?
It's a documentary.
Okay.
Yeah, so you have to learn things, Rob, and that's probably why
That's
you're not
the way I
into
learn
it.
things is watching movies. Did you hear that?
Sorry, you cut out there. I've got a
I
Australian
said I
friend
only
that's terrible
learn by watching movies.
Yeah, well, you should check this one out. It's really good. But I watched that with my wife, and it gave her a whole new appreciation for what a cigar is. So before that, she was on the fence with the idea of me smoking cigars because, as we all know, the media, the general consensus about tobacco smoking is it's going to kill you. You're going to die.
It's been demonized.
It's been highly, highly demonized. Over the last, especially in Australia, we've got our plain packaging laws, we've got our anti-smoking laws that you can't smoke in public, like near where people are eating, as I said before. And then I could show you some pictures of the way our tobacco products come shipped with the ugly green boxes, and where I've got this beautiful Arturo Fuente band, it would normally be covered in this horrible green band that simply says Arturo Fuente between the lines in a plain white font. It's horrible stuff.
Just like a generic wrapper.
Very generic. And so she had this idea in her head that by me smoking cigars, I was slowly killing myself and all this kind of shit. But then we watched this documentary together, and she was like, wow, that's completely different to what she expected. And if you've got anybody who's on the fence, like especially with wives who are on the fence about their husbands smoking cigars, watch that documentary together and you'll get a whole new appreciation for what cigars actually are. Highly recommended.
Now, I wonder if that is available on Apple TV, because I do have that.
maybe. So I had to pay for it through iTunes. It was only about $10, Rob. It's like $7 of your dollars.
Well, I was just thinking that with ITV, I don't have to watch it on my computer. I can watch it on the TV. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I bought it through the iTunes store, and then I have an Apple TV as well, so I just watched it on TV.
Oh, okay. I'm not that
Yeah.
tech savvy. I didn't know you could do that. So
I'll send you a link.
Okay, cool.
It's really good. And yeah, they're working on a sequel. They were gonna do. I think it was funny because when I was chatting to Pete Johnson, he was saying that they were going to do essentially 100% from seed to cigar documentary about the entire process. And that ended up being nearly 2 hours long, what they'd recorded. And like, no one's going to sit down and watch this
Right.
for 2 hours.
In person, that'd be great, but watching yeah.
And so they shrunk that down to about 5 or 10 minutes. And that clip is actually on YouTube.
Okay.
At the moment.
Well, I'll definitely check that out. Send me the link and I'll actually watch the documentary. So I wanted to ask you, being in Australia, how is it like with the marijuana laws?
It's marijuana is decriminalized in Australia, but it's definitely not legal. So you can't go to jail for it anymore, but it's not legal in any way. So I don't really follow or keep up with the marijuana laws because it's not something that's ever interested me.
Sure. Well, I asked that because, like in the States, it's becoming rampantly more and more available in other states, not Texas. But it's funny to me that politicians and the media demonize cigars, but it's okay for the people who smoke marijuana to smoke marijuana. I don't understand that at all.
Yeah, I completely understand. And the thing is with Australia is like we have a huge culture around drinking alcohol. So it's our sports teams are sponsored by alcohol brands. You can walk into liquor stores and there's reviews and tastings and all this kind of stuff on all types of different alcohols. Yet alcohol kills more people than tobacco does in this country because you've got the adverse effects of things like drink driving and domestic violence and whatever else, and the addiction that you get to alcohol. I don't know a single person who's addicted to a cigar.
Yeah, I don't consider tobacco as a drug. You know what I mean?
No.
But it's classified as a drug in the United States.
Which does my head in.
Yes. I'm waiting for your head to explode.
There you go.
There you go. Well, cool, man. Well, hey, dude, I'm going to wrap it up, and I just want to say thanks for taking the time to hang out with us and talk. And
no worries, mate.
How's your Arturo Fuente?
I'm almost finished. I said I can tend to drag out a cigar for as long as
you smoke it down to the very little tip too.
You kind of have to. And this is actually a really good cigar. Have you had these before?
I have. Very good. Yeah. Very good.
Very, very good. Nice and mild, and they just pair beautifully with coffee.
Have you had the Nat Cinco?
No.
Yeah, I smoked one this morning, and I had forgotten how much I enjoy that with a nice Sumatran coffee because it's pretty light. If you on the scale of light to medium to full, it's below medium. It's not quite a medium, but it is just. I probably retro held that cigar at least 8 to 10 times because it was so smooth, and I don't have my sense. I got COVID a few months ago.
I remember.
And I lost my sense of smell. So when I retrohale, I get little hints of a smell, but then they fade away real quick. So that's one of the reasons I retrohale so often is like I get a little bit and then it goes away. So I keep doing it.
You still got your sense of taste though, right?
I do, but it's not as strong as it is whenever my sense of smell is back, I hope. Yeah. But my doctor said maybe 6 months it'll come back. And the funny thing is, and I've never told anybody on the show this, but my mother could not smell ever her entire life.
Oh, wow.
And it's funny because I think I now know what it was like for her. You know what I mean? And but anyway, well, hey man, thanks for hanging out with us and coming on the show. We're a big fan of you, brother. We love you. You're
Thanks, brother.
a part of our community, and even though you're down, I guess, 15 hours away on a flight, you know.
A bit longer than that. It's like 36 or something with a stopover in Dubai.
Dubai, that's way out of the way. You know, my daughter made a direct flight from Sydney to Dallas.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay. Dallas is a hub, isn't it?
Yeah, and I want to say I think it was 14 hours.
Oh, that's not so bad.
And that was her first time to ever fly first class, and she loved it because they brought you a robe and, you know, all kinds of crap. But anyways,
how did she go? Like, she did missionary work or something out here, you said?
Yeah, she was doing missionary work right there in Queensland. And I forgot the little place where she was at, but it was on the south side of where you are. And anyway, she was down there for 18 months. She loved it. She still has a lot of friends from that area that she still talks to daily. And she's working right now to do a new missionary base in Portland, Oregon. And so right now she's just working 3 jobs and saving money so she can make that happen.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, but hey, man, come up to the States and we'll hang out and smoke a cigar, brother.
I'll sleep on your couch.
Hey, you're more than welcome. I'll let you sleep in the studio.
Thanks, brother. I would love to check out the Leaf and a couple of other lounges up there.
Oh, man, I was at the Leaf this morning. It's a wonderful place. So
I just want to be able to walk into a store and see cigars on the shelf.
And then smoke them.
And then smoke them, yeah. Like our stores, they don't even have cigars out for you to see. Like, they're all hidden in the back, or they're covered by sheets and stuff like that. It's not very pleasant.
Like a drug deal almost. You're like...
Essentially.
Wow.
And like, you know how like a lot of cutters and lighters have brands on them, like the Prometheus lighters and stuff like that. They're not even allowed to show those brands on the lighters. They've got to cover the lighters because it's got a cigar brand on it.
Why do they not allow you to show the brand?
Because that's considered promoting tobacco. That's why they've got the plain packaging. That's part of the plain packaging laws, is that cigar brand, that tobacco company's logo cannot be shown anywhere.
You know, they tried to bring that here to the States, and we shot it down because it violates our First Amendment right, which is a freedom of speech.
Yeah. Well, see, we unfortunately don't have such a constitution.
You don't have you have some kind of constitution.
I would imagine so.
I would imagine.
I haven't really looked into it. There is a petition going around. So for your 12 Australians that are listening to the show, we do have a petition on change.org to amend our cigar laws and try to separate cigars from cigarettes. But last I checked it, there's about 3,000 signatures on it last time I checked it, I think. So
that's pretty good.
Steam. Yeah. I don't know how much it'll actually take to make a difference, though.
I got you. Well, hey, man, thanks again for coming on the show, and I'll see you around the Discord server, I hope. You're supposed to say
no worries,
okay.
Mate. Have a good one.
Hey, guys, hope you enjoyed the interview with Peter. Peter, thank you so much for taking the time and joining us. You know, it was cool about doing an interview with him because it was nighttime here. It was like 7. And there, it was like 10 a.m.
It was awesome.
Yeah, and seeing his palm trees and the sunshine, and it was like, man, Australia.
And you think it was a fake backdrop? No, that's his yard.
That's his back.
Yeah,
that's his backyard.
That's where he lives.
So thank you, Peter, again, and we'll be talking to you again real soon, brother. Anyway, let's jump into our pick 6. Do you have your 3 ready to go? Because I'm ready if you're not, is what I'm saying.
Oh, but being polite, I will let you go first. But I am ready.
Okay, well, this week, my top 3, and one of the ones that is my top 3 is what I'm smoking right now. During the break, I lit up my Yellow Rose by Crowned Heads.
Oh, yeah.
I want to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But anyway, my other 2 go-tos this week has been the Medalla Toro. And if you guys, I'll have to show you. I got this in the mail from a listener, Sean O'Connor. And it was this and a Medalla Toro. And it said, come over to the dark side. So I always like the Medallia
Corona
Extra. And so anyway, thank you, Sean. This is awesome. And I just posted a picture of this on Instagram. So anyway, but no, my other two go-tos this week was the Medallia from McAuliffe, the Toro size, and then also the McAuliffe Nicaraguan Toro.
Nice.
Good smokes.
Very
I hadn't smoked that Nicaraguan in a while, and so when I smoked it, I was real impressed by how thick and oily the wrapper was. And so anyway, that's my 3 for the week. What do you got, brother?
My 3, and this was sort of predicated on a conversation you and I had in the office about
Easy lovin'.
but more so, there are so many cigars in a given humidor, and like we were talking about earlier, you always kind of go to the ones that you recognize or that you've had before. Now, a lot of people, if you talk about Drew Estate, first thing that pops in most people's head is acid cigars and infused and all this.
Yeah.
What they don't realize is Drew Estate, and especially Willie Herrera, they make tremendous blends. And they always, at least in our demographic, get overlooked for these infusions and all these things.
Well, no, I overlook them just because it says Drew Estate.
Right.
I don't smoke a lot of Drew Estate just because of the stigma of it being infused cigars.
What?
And so I know that's not all they carry, but when I see the Drew Estate sign, I just buzz on by.
I got you. Now, it would surprise many people to know that Drew Estate carries a tremendous line of cigars that they do fit various profiles. And so my top 3, I made it a purpose to go with just Drew Estate cigars. And
oh, really?
yeah.
I'm impressed.
And so, spoiler alert, none of these are acids. None of these are infused. I wanted to...
Well, I would not be impressed if that's what you were smoking, Jay.
I wanted to make sure that everybody had an idea of what exactly is the capabilities of Drew Estate and what you can get from it as a traditional cigar smoker. And I'm going to start off my list. This is in no particular order. The Hoya De Nicaragua. If you've had Hoya De Nicaragua, boom, that's a Drew Estate cigar. More especially the red. Now that one is, whenever I talk about a cigar that has that graham cracker type of flavor to it, that's the Hoya De Nicaragua
Really?
red. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever smoked that cigar.
So it's a light to medium. It finishes medium.
So a nice coffee stick for me.
Very good morning cigar. That one made my top 3. In addition, another light-bodied cigar, but not so light like what you had told me before, as this is not your father's Connecticut. Very resemblant of the Romacraft Ecuadorian Connecticut line. It's the Undercrown Shade. It is also Ecuadorian Connecticut, but it is, again, not your father's Connecticut cigar. It is a solid medium, finishes medium full. Also a good morning, early afternoon smoke. And then rounding out my top 3, staying with the Undercrown line. Did I mention what the name of that previous cigar was?
No,
I don't think I did.
No. You gave us 2 Drew Estates.
Right.
What's the third one?
The second one was the Undercrown Shade. This one, I wanted to take
now, is that the one with the red band?
No, it's blue and gold.
Well, I thought that was the Maduro.
They're both blue and gold. You're thinking about the
Sun
Herrera
grown.
Esteli.
I'm thinking about the
sun-grown.
sun-grown, like the flying pig.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I wanted the other end of the spectrum, the other bookend, so I tried the Undercrown Maduro. Also, excellent stick. Now, I've had the Liga Privada number 9 and the Liga Privada line, which we offer at the Leaf now.
What's like a T58?
The T52?
Yeah, I had one of those last week. Good smoke.
Good smoke. Now, for those that want that flavor and that experience, but don't want to spend as much to get those,
For the League of Nine or something, yeah.
go with the Undercrown Maduro. It is made with the same process, but it's utilizing tobacco that's more readily available. And so it still gives you a wow experience.
And it's a beautiful stick.
It really is.
I mean, that wrapper, thick, oily, and very dark.
Yes. And the Undercrown Maduro, as well as the shade, comes in so many different sizes. You can get the, I forget the name of it. They're like little shorties that, 25, 30-minute smokes. And you can get up to, the hour and a half smoke out of them.
So, like I'm smoking the Yellow Rose from Crowned Heads. And that's not a brand that I go to all the time, but I really have fallen in love with this Yellow Rose and the Buckeye. So my question is, what other cigars under that line of the Crowned Heads are there that are worth looking into?
Again, I'm speaking personally.
Right. I'm not asking you to speak on behalf of Paul.
One that from Crown Heads that I've had for a long time and we've carried for a long time at the Leaf is Four Kicks. Four Kicks is an Ecuadorian Habano wrapper. It's got a little bit of sweetness to it, some nuttiness, mostly leather, a lot of earthy, slight hint of pepper and spice on the back end. That would be one that I would probably recommend for Bryant. I know he likes that spicy stick.
Right. And I like them on occasion.
On occasion.
You know what I mean? It's not my go-to profile. Because it used to be. It used to fit the spicier, peppery it was, that's what I wanted to smoke. And then I started falling in love with all these other notes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I would also, just to kind of round out the day, if you wanted to start off with one, the La Carême by Crown Heads. That's another Crown Head stick.
That's Connecticut?
Yeah. It is a Connecticut broadleaf. It has a lot more creaminess to it. Slight hints of cocoa. A slight sweetness. Almost you could pull like an apricot or some kind of fruit from it.
Oh, wow.
Just
you know
very
what? You
light.
know what fruit I don't like in my cigars?
What's that?
Have you ever had a Connecticut that had that really stout lemon zest? I'm not a fan.
I'm going to be honest with you. Maybe I just haven't had a lot of lemon. I don't know what that tastes like. What is a lemon zest?
It's very in your face, and then it goes away in the cigars that I've experienced. But it's like, I don't know what it is, but it seems like whatever tobacco that is it makes my mouth super dry.
That sounds like ammonia.
Well, I'm just saying, anytime I've had that really strong lemon zest, I'm like, that's not for me.
Yeah. That sounds like a lot of cigars that whenever it's rushed to get out, not to say that these were that want the lemon zest, but you ever have those cigars that people say, man, these are still green?
Yeah.
So,
now let's shift gears here for a second since I got you. How do you feel about Claros? Candelas?
Candelas?
Yeah.
I personally think Candelas are a very unique flavor.
Yeah, but I'm asking if you like them.
Oh, no.
Okay,
No.
so you're not a Candela
They're very
guy.
punchy.
They are.
It's like if you cut grass and put it in your mouth.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
You are spot on because we got the 858 Claros.
Yeah.
And when I toasted the foot, I even told Bryant, before I even puffed on it, when I toasted, I was like, usually my favorite thing is toasting a cigar and smelling that aroma.
Yeah.
Dude, it smelled funky right out of the gate. And I even remember Bryant was like, man, why you guys say that? Now I'm fixing to smoke it. And I was like, I'm just being honest, it's funky.
Yeah. There's a unique palate that will enjoy those. You know what? When I like Candelas is when it's split with a Habano.
The only one that I've enjoyed, which one is the one that Roma Craft does? That's really dark, but it has that little Candela barber pole.
It is called the Black Irish.
Okay, the Black Irish is amazing. However, I don't know that I get much Candela out of that because the part of the barber pole of the Candela was very thin.
Oh yeah, and it's like a fine spice, and these rollers are chefs pretty much. You do like the little thing, and you put a little bit in there. That's what the Black Irish is. That little kick, that's the Candela inside of the Black Irish. Are you wanting some?
Oh, why? Do you know where there are some?
Yes, I do.
Oh, I would love one. I haven't had one in a long time.
Oh, mayhaps it's in the back room.
Ooh.
No,
Hey, you know who's going to be here tomorrow?
who?
When this show comes out tomorrow, here in Abilene is Zika.
No way.
Yes way. If it all holds up,
Really?
he's going to be up in Azle today,
Uh-huh.
and tomorrow he's going to get a rental car and drive down, and we're going to go smoke at the Leaf.
Brother Crook. Oh
Right?
my gosh. That would be so awesome to meet him in person.
I am so excited to meet that fat fuck.
We talked about him coming through every time he calls me.
His Amish beard. Have you seen his Amish beard?
I've not.
His
not
beard. He has no mustache. He just has a beard.
Like Alan.
Yes. But you know what? He's like one of the coolest guys I know.
He really is.
And he is a genius at so many things. Maybe not, maybe genius is the wrong word. Maybe he just has a skill set. Like what he does for a living is impressive, but what he does outside of what he does for a living is always impressive. Like he buys limited editions Roma Crafts, he buys limited edition Opus,
Mm-hmm.
He has probably the biggest collection of cigars of anybody I know.
Well, in that case, I don't have any Black Irish.
Yeah, he might. I doubt. Well, maybe he'll listen to this show on the way to the Leaf tomorrow. So,
Well, I was blessed with the Black Irish from our rep from Roma Craft.
what's your rep's name?
John.
John. Give John a shout out. That
John
dude's a good
Dolliver.
rep. John
Yes.
Dolliver. He's been there now for what, about almost 2 years.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit over. He came from Zycar right before they sold to Quality Importers.
He came to work for him right when we went down there and did an interview.
Yeah.
We met him, but he was just getting started.
John is an all-around great guy, and I'll tell you why.
And isn't he an easygoing rep? I mean, for you meet reps from all different companies, but that dude's laid back.
Yeah,
Just whatever you need,
absolutely.
I got you taken care of. Hey,
No.
here's some little something, something.
Yeah, John will call me and say, "Hey, by the way, just a heads up," kind of thing,
Right.
But John is more than just a rep.
He's a man.
He's a man. No, he's very helpful in all aspects of life. Now, stupid side story, just to illustrate how far John will go to help out just some guy that's part of his account line. I asked John, "Hey, John, a lot of people won't understand this, but how do I work out my posterior deltoids so that I stop hunching over? It's the muscle that keeps your shoulders back."
Yeah, and that's automatically 12-ounce curls.
Well, and I know John worked out, so I asked him, what exercises can you tell me? I know this is outside of our relationship. And straight up he said, "Yeah, no problem, man. Here's some videos that I recommend. I do this X amount of times a week after these particular exercises."
So I'm curious now, how long have you been working out religiously?
Religiously?
Yeah, because I know what you're doing now, and it's religiously. So how long have you been doing that?
AKA 4 hours to 5 hours a night.
Yeah.
About 2.5 months. Well, since what month is this?
This is June.
June. I've been working out since beginning of March.
Okay.
Yeah.
What got you hooked on that all of a sudden? I mean, I know you always worked out a little.
To be vulnerable a little bit.
We like you vulnerable.
There was a lot of things that transpired in my personal life that I knew that if I didn't deal with it in a more productive way, it'd be more destructive. And I knew that I had a space that I designated as my quote-unquote man room in my garage that I quickly turned into a small in-home gym. And that was just one way to just decompress after the day. And without going into details because I don't want to, it was a lot of unfinished business versus stuff that was continuously building on itself.
And working out like you are, I mean, is that like being a very positive vibe in your life?
It has, yeah. I actually feel a lot better. I feel...
Let me tell you a secret that you probably don't know because you're young. But what I have found is that is more helpful than working out is bourbon.
I'm surprised. Well, not surprised. I am happy you said that. And we'll raise a glass to that.
Yeah.
Let me explain something real quick. So,
pass me that Eagle Rare.
I did feel I'm not a stranger to depression. So I knew when it was coming on, and I knew I had to address it right away or I would get swallowed up into it. And so I started with an exercise program that I kind of just made up out of things that I learned from being on the football team in college and things that I've done with P90X and all this different kind of programs. And ultimately developed into different programs. But the main consistent aspect of the workout has been whiskey.
Really?
Now, there is...
Because I've been drinking a lot of whiskey, and I haven't seen any workouts.
You're halfway there.
Okay.
Now,
thank you.
If you remember, if you look back in the last episode I was on, I was wearing a shirt that said whiskey and weights.
I thought it said whiskey and gym.
No, whiskey and weights.
Okay,
so
fair enough. I guess it's the WW. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, the phone's always listening. I don't know what I said to make it pop up. It was a Facebook ad that popped up, and I was like, holy crap, this is perfect. This is exactly what I do for 4 hours a night.
And you know what's so weird about you saying about you don't know what you said that made you start getting those ads? I don't know what I've said, but I keep getting ads for tampons.
Yeah. No.
I don't know why, but I don't need any. I don't want any. I don't know why they keep coming back to me like that. But anyway, go ahead.
Extra absorbent.
Yes. Yeah. It was a heavy flow.
No, it turned out to where, you know, I would work out and have a whiskey or work out and have a bourbon.
So that was like a reward. Well, I mean, that's what I would think. Well,
hydration is a good part of working out, and then I learned that later.
If I do 10 push-ups, I'm drinking a shot.
Well, and it's tapered off, lately.
The working out or the drinking?
The drinking.
Oh. But see, I was hoping for the other.
In its heyday, it was miraculous because you ever get your blood pumping while you're drinking? You don't have to drink as much. And so your bottles last so much longer.
That is true. That is true. Well, I say that. I mean, I don't really get into a lot of pumping exercises. It's just me. You know, I don't know if you know this, but my youngest brother owned a CrossFit gym.
Okay.
And he called me up one day and he was like, yo, bro, I'm 12 years older than him. And he's like, yo, bro, I think you should take a look at this CrossFit. I mean, I'm in Lubbock. I know you're in Abilene. You're not going to be joining my gym, but I think you should look at a CrossFit gym. I think, you're getting up there in age. You need to start taking care of yourself. And, I mean, if I could talk to one of those guys, I could probably get you a discount because I own a gym. And so, what do you think? And I said, fuck you, and I hung up. So, that's my level of workout.
Well, you're almost there.
I'm close. Very close.
You want to come to my garage?
No.
Why not?
I mean, maybe when you're done and we're drinking. But then, did you have AC in there?
No, it's all hot. It's a hot box where you work out.
No, I do not want to be there.
I can turn the fan on.
You come over here with the AC going, and we'll drink, and we'll smoke, and we'll be happy.
Okay, fair.
That's life. Wrapped up in a nutsack. So anyway, man, do you have anything else for it? You said something earlier about telling us about what Habano is.
Okay, yes.
Because I love Habano cigars.
So
I don't know exactly what makes a Habano a Habano.
I'll tell you this.
Thank you.
In the simplest terms, a Habano, or a Habano cigar, Habano blend, it's essentially a tobacco grown from Cuban seed and undergoes the same fermentation process as Cuban cigars. So if anybody's wanting to get the closest Cuban experience stateside, look for a Habano. There are tons of Habanos out there. There are...
now let me ask you this on the Habanos.
Yeah.
Are the wrappers always like a medium shade?
It's usually medium. Well, that's dependent on the fermentation process, but ultimately it does have...
Because all the Habanos I smoke
Yeah.
are like a medium shade. They're not real dark.
They're not typically dark and oily, but they can be.
Okay.
And so there are really three types of Habanos we can find stateside. There's Nicaraguan, Ecuadorian, and then there's a varietal where it's like a Habano Claro or Habano Criollo or
Okay.
other varietals like that. And so I went ahead and took a look. In our humidor right now, we have a bunch of different Habanos that there were some that surprised me when I took a look to see if there were Habanos or not. And a lot of these have a lot richer flavor profiles, a lot of coffee,
one of the reasons I love them, man.
Yeah.
They're so full of flavor.
Absolutely.
And, which is weird to me because when you think of Cuban cigars, you don't think of all those different flavors. At least on the Cubans that I've smoked, it's been like one note, and that's what you get. It might get spicy on the end, like a little spice bomb, but mainly whatever you start with is what you finish with. Mm-hmm. And on the Habanos, I find that they're full of flavors throughout the entire stick.
Oh, yeah. And they range. They have a bunch of different spice kind of flavors. Cigars that bring in a lot of cedar notes, that leathery and coffee notes to it.
See,
Those
I
are
love
all very common in
I
Habano
love
cigars.
that leather profile.
Yeah.
You know what? As a kid, I used to chew on like my glove when I was a baseball player.
Yeah.
And that leather taste, if you don't know what leather tastes like, you did not grow up in the 70s. Because if you had a baseball glove or some kind of kinky parent, you knew what leather tastes like. You know what I'm saying? I mean, for me, it was baseball, but to each their own. But yeah, I love that leather profile. And then probably my second would be like when you get that white pepper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like so many cigars have that black pepper.
Yep.
That when you get a white pepper or even a red cracked pepper.
Yeah.
It's like...
It's a surprise.
Yeah, it's a surprise, and
Yeah.
you're impressed that they're able to pull that off.
And
Because like when I say the cracked red pepper, to me, the ultimate cracked red pepper cigar, do you know what it is?
what?
the LFD Chapter 2.
That chapter.
Dude.
Chapitre 2.
That freaking wrapper is oily, and that wrapper is not brown. It's red.
If you can find them.
If you can find them. You don't have them right now, right? Because I saw the Chapter 1.
I got Chapter 1.
I saw the Chapter 1s today,
Yep.
and then I saw the 2 other special edition LFDs, and I couldn't pull the trigger on it because I was like, $22. I don't have 22 extra dollars.
We'll do a payment plan for you, Rob.
No. So, sometimes, like when I go in the shop and I'm like, I know I'm going to treat myself. Instead of looking for the Chapter 2 or an LFD, I just automatically go to the Padron 1926 or the Macalif Reserva.
Yeah.
Those are my 2 go-to celebration sticks. When I say celebration, I just mean celebrating life as it is. Mm-hmm. When you're having a good fucking week, you might as well go in and just, treat yourself.
That's right. You got to treat yourself once in a while.
I mean, I smoke a lot of cigars.
You do?
And so I can't afford to buy $12, $14 cigars to smoke all day. So I appreciate that you carry a line of cigars like the Project 40 that cost, under $7. You carry the Corojo 1923, which I believe is by La Aurora. Right? La Aurora?
The Corojo 23?
It's the Corojo something.
Aganorsa.
No. This is La Aurora. It's got the line on the band, and it's the Corojo.
Do we carry that?
Yeah, you do carry that.
And
it's a fantastic coffee stick. So when I come down there in the morning, that's almost my go-to. I'll tell you this. I even got away from the La Galera, which I love as a coffee stick, to go to that Corojo. It's that good. And I love the La Galera, Connecticut.
You do. The Chaveta, which is the Toro size. Now, a lot of folks won't recognize, but out of the 2 varietals or the 2 types of Habano, Ecuadorian is the most prevalent.
Well, I do know that Christian, what's his name from Ecuadoria?
Christian Bale?
No. From
Batman.
From the cigar family. Julio and Gusto is the father and brother. The Asylum line?
Yes.
Who makes that? Christian who? Eoria?
I can't pronounce it. I don't want to bastardize it.
That's what we do on the show.
Eoria.
Yeah, Eoria.
Yeah, it's Eoria.
Something like that.
Ioria.
His brother, Justo, or Gusto, depending on how you want to say it. Anyway, guys, I guess we're about done. We wanted to explore a lot of different things. I hope you guys took notes because Jay knows his shit, and we like having him on the show from time to time when we can get him. And so we want to say thank you for coming on, Jay.
It was a great pleasure to be on again, and
we appreciate you sponsoring the show. I got to tell this one little story right quick before we go.
Okay. It's about the check?
Yes. So Jay the Leaf is the sponsor. So once a month, I go by and I pick up a check from Jay. And Jay can probably, I don't know if Jay's ever noticed, but sometimes the check's deposited that day and sometimes it's deposited like 3 or 4 weeks later. I don't know if you notice.
So long as I put it in QuickBooks, as soon as I write it, it's
good.
already spoken for,
all right,
and I don't
good.
have to worry about it.
All right, good. So anyway, I'd put the check next to my Weasel Fest sticker that Jay had brought to me.
Oh, Weasel Fest was awesome.
Yes, you told me. It was fun.
You got to come next time.
Yeah,
I'm bringing you.
It can't be on Memorial Day weekend. If it's on Memorial Day weekend, I can't go.
I got you. No. As soon as I find out, we'll
get it all set up. Yeah. Hell yeah. So anyway, Jay gives me this Weasel Fest sticker. I bring it home. I put it next to the check. And then it sat there for like a week. And then I decided it would be fun to put that weasel sticker on my wife's rear window. You know, she's got dark tinted windows. That's like, she probably won't even notice. So me and my daughter thought it would be fun. We went out there and did that. That was it. We went, and then we went out to eat. So, excuse me. I gotta have a drink.
Do it. There you go. Hammer down.
So anyway, the next day, after I'd taken my wife and daughter out to eat, I was going to go deposit the check. And I was like, oh, it's not here on the table where I left it. It must be in my car. So I didn't think nothing about it. Went to the shed, started smoking cigars. Then the next day, I told my wife, I was like, hey, I can't find that check. And we freaking tore the house down looking for this check. And I was like, okay, Jay's going to be like, what a schmuck, you lost my check. And then I thought, well, and on top of that, now I'm going to have him cancel the check. And then whatever that fucking cost, I'm going to have to say, don't write me a check for the whole amount. Just, deduct that. So I go to the Leaf Saturday morning, and I'm going to smoke a cigar and wait for Jay to come in. He usually comes in about 11 on Saturdays.
Yeah.
And I'm back in the back room smoking, and Colton comes back and says, hey, man, I think this belongs to you. And I was like, what you got there? And he showed it to me, and I was like, holy shit, where the hell did you get that?
It was the check.
I had been looking for it that morning and couldn't find it. And he was like, some dude just dropped it off and said he saw the leaf on it, and he brought it down.
Isn't that awesome?
And I was like, I haven't been to the Leaf in 3 days. He found it in the parking lot, And I was like, that's crazy. That doesn't make any sense based on what I know.
Yeah.
So anyway, I go out. I'm going to buy this guy a cigar. When I walk out, he's got an oxygen tank he's carrying, and he's got this face mask with air tubes going to it. So I decide not to offer to buy a guy a cigar.
Good call.
I was like, maybe this isn't the time to promote tobacco. So anyway, I say, thank you so much. And he says, I found it at 5th and Willis. I live at 6th and Willis. So it had blown a block away, and the dude was walking and found it. And the awesomeness that he brought it down to the shop was crazy.
Isn't it just... It kind of it's a comical story, but it really just reinvigorates the goodness of the human race.
I thought you were going to say it makes you want to say, Rob, pull your head out of your ass and don't lose my fucking check.
That was, to be honest, that was the first. That was the first response, because of society we live in.
Right,
People wash checks and they'll deplete bank accounts, but in hindsight, looking back,
what an amazing turn of events.
It was just a very good depiction of that there are still great people.
And I told my daughter, I said, think about it. 90% of the people would see a check and pick it up. But then when they saw what it was, 90% of the people would throw it away. Mm-hmm. 10% would probably try to do some scam with it. Maybe 10% is a little high, but, somewhere in that range. And I was like, but this guy who doesn't smoke cigars,
obviously,
takes it to the cigar shop and drops it off. People are good.
There are
a lot of good people out there. Don't focus on the fucking assholes that ruin people's lives.
I saw a meme that said, did you have a bad day or did you have a bad 5 minutes of your day? Don't let the bad portion of your day ruin it.
I saw a meme
same with the humanity.
That said anal. No, that's probably not appropriate.
Jesus.
Sorry, go ahead.
That was it. Just ultimately what I learned from that was don't let that fraction of your day, destroy it. There's so much more.
Are you talking about when you found out that I had lost your check? Don't let that ruin your life, Jay.
This influenced it. No, well, first of all, I wanted to make sure that I got the point across that it is dangerous to lose my checks.
Yes. Noted.
But
and I had never heard of that, washing checks. I don't even know what that is.
So a great friend of mine that owns another locally small business. Yeah.
Which their coffee's not as good as Jay's. Yeah. But whatever.
They have the same, they have a checkbook, they have direct deposit, but this particular individual wrote a check that was intercepted, and I don't know.
Stolen.
I don't know how it's done, but they kind of wash off the written parts, and they can write any amount and then do the cursive of any amount, but retain the signature. And so that's called, I guess, washing the check, where it could be a $5 check. You could turn it into like a $7,500 check and just wipe out a bank account.
Wow.
And that was my initial response. But then
I hope that my message in return wasn't dismissive. I just sent the happy face with the sunshades.
You sent the happy face with the sunshades, and then the text, fuck off. No, I was very impressed.
Because I know how you are business-wise.
Yeah.
Some things do stress you out. And the thought of someone wiping out your bank account stresses you out like it should anyone.
Right.
So I took it completely. I was like, what he's saying is, don't be a fuck up and ruin our business. I got it.
I know that it was you didn't intend for that to happen.
Right.
But I was just so impressed by the goodwill of humanity in action that kind of wiped all the worry away and made this completely fine. It was a great reminder that there are great people in the world. There are awesome people in the world. There are honest people in the world. I know that
There's
now,
good people.
Yes, we're in a time where
all we see is the bad.
All we see is the bad. All we see is the conflict. All we see is the strife. And we go to our cigar shop and we try to find some semblance of unity. And then for me, that's where I go day in, day out. And so I know that I can trust the guys that are there, right? I can count on them. But to have some stranger, not only that, but somebody that's toting an oxygen tank and a mask,
make his way down
to the shop to say, hey, this
that
was
has
written
nothing
from you guys.
vested, no investment in any outcome.
Absolutely. He has no reason to believe there's going to be any kind of financial recompense or any kind of remuneration. It was just the right thing.
For you guys that don't know what he just said, he wasn't getting anything out of it.
Did I use too big of words?
Yeah, for my audience, absolutely.
I'm educated.
I wanted to make sure that Groot and Zika and John, you understood what Jay was saying.
He didn't expect anything in return.
No.
And he did the right thing.
Dude, and it blew me away because I had literally torn my house down looking for it just an hour ago, maybe even 30 minutes ago, because he came in and Colton came back when I was probably about halfway through my cigar, and I was just like, holy shit. So anyway, so thankful to that guy. Turns out he's one of my neighbors down the street. So, I mean, what do you say when you have neighbors that are that freaking good?
That you're a lucky man.
I am a lucky man. Absolutely. So anyway, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Until next time.
Keep smoking.